A cardiac surgeon warns, there is one everyday food many seniors eat without a second thought. Yet it may be quietly raising blood clot risk, especially after the age of 60. It doesn't cause pain right away, it doesn't trigger obvious symptoms. But inside your arteries, it may be slowly changing how your blood flows, how thick it becomes, and how easily clots can form. Most seniors eat this food daily. Sometimes at breakfast, sometimes in a sandwich, sometimes as a quick, easy dinner. It feels normal, familiar, even comforting. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. It hides in plain sight. Blood clots don't usually appear suddenly. They are not random accidents. In many cases, they build silently over years through daily habits, especially the foods we rely on more as we get older. After 60, the body changes. Blood circulation slows. Blood vessels become less flexible. The natural balance between clotting and thinning becomes more fragile. Small dietary stresses that didn't matter at 40 can become serious risks at 65 or 70. In cardiac surgery, one of the hardest conversations happens after an emergency, after a clot has already caused a heart attack, a stroke, or a life-threatening blockage. Families often say, but they ate normally. They didn't feel sick, and that's the frightening truth. Many people feel perfectly fine until the moment they aren't. Cardiac surgeons see patterns most people never connect. One of the clearest patterns involves a common everyday food: processed meats. Foods like sausages, hot dogs, bacon, deli meats, luncheon meats, and packaged cold cuts. These foods are easy to chew, easy to cook, and easy to rely on, especially for seniors living alone or trying to simplify meals. But processed meats behave very differently inside the body compared to fresh foods. To preserve them, manufacturers add nitrates, nitrites, and other chemicals. Inside aging blood vessels, these compounds can damage the delicate inner lining of arteries. Once that lining is irritated, the body responds defensively by activating clotting mechanisms. Think of it this way. Your body treats damaged blood vessels like an injury, and injuries trigger clots. When this happens repeatedly, day after day, the blood can slowly become thicker and more prone to clotting even when there is no real wound. Another issue is inflammation. Processed meats are strongly linked to chronic low-grade inflammation. You may not feel it, but it shows up in the blood. Inflammation makes platelets, the cells responsible for clotting, more reactive. Reactive platelets stick together more easily, increasing the risk of unwanted clots forming in the heart, brain, or legs. For seniors, this risk is amplified. Aging naturally increases clot risk. Blood becomes slightly thicker. Circulation slows, especially with less movement. Veins in the legs may struggle to push blood back to the heart. When processed meats are eaten daily, they add pressure to an already sensitive system. High sodium is another hidden danger. Processed meats contain large amounts of salt. Excess sodium raises blood pressure and damages artery walls over time. Damaged arteries are prime locations for clots to develop. Surgeons often describe this as creating rough surfaces inside blood vessels where clots can more easily attach. There's also growing concern about how these foods affect gut bacteria. Certain compounds produced when processed meats are digested, especially one called TMAO, have been linked to increased clot formation and higher rates of heart attacks and strokes. This gut-heart connection is now taken very seriously in modern cardiology. What makes this especially troubling is that many seniors eat processed meats believing they supporting muscle health by getting enough protein. Protein is important, but the source matters. Some protein sources quietly increase clot risk rather than protect the heart. And here's the most dangerous part. There are often no warning signs. No pain, no dizziness. No obvious signal until a clot blocks blood flow to the heart or brain. By then, it's an emergency. Your heart has carried you through a lifetime. Every step, every breath, every memory. The goal now isn't fear, it's awareness. Because small daily choices can either strain your arteries or protect them. In the next part, we'll talk about why low-fat or lean versions of these foods are still risky, the early symptoms of clot risk most people ignore, and what cardiac surgeons recommend as safer, heart-protective alternatives that still fit into everyday senior life. Even when processed meats are labeled low-fat or lean, they still carry many of the same hidden risks. The chemicals used to preserve them don't disappear with reduced fat, and the sodium content often remains just as high or even higher to maintain flavor. So, simply choosing the healthier version doesn't fully protect your blood vessels. That's why many seniors think they're making a smart choice while unknowingly keeping their clot risk elevated. So how can you know if your blood might be at risk before a serious event occurs? There are early signs, subtle hints your body gives long before a full-blown clot develops. Swelling in the legs or ankles, unexplained fatigue, shortness of breath during normal activities, or even sudden numbness in the limbs can all indicate that blood flow isn't smooth. These symptoms are easy to dismiss, but paying attention could make a life-saving difference. Cardiac surgeons emphasize simple daily habits that dramatically reduce clot risk. Staying active, even with light walking or gentle stretching, helps maintain healthy circulation. Drinking enough water keeps blood from thickening unnecessarily. And most importantly, adjusting what you eat every day has a huge impact. Replacing processed meats with fresh, whole protein sources is one of the most effective strategies. Think eggs, beans, lentils, poultry, or fish. These foods provide essential protein for maintaining strength and muscle mass without the chemicals and excessive sodium that contribute to clot formation. Leafy greens, colorful vegetables, and berries also help by reducing inflammation and improving blood vessel health. Even small swaps, like a turkey or chicken breast sandwich instead of processed deli meats, can make a significant difference over weeks and months. Another protective measure is including foods that naturally support healthy circulation. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel provide omega-3 south, which help reduce platelet stickiness and inflammation. Nuts, seeds, and olive oil also support heart health, giving arteries the flexibility they need as we age. These simple dietary choices, combined with daily movement, can quietly strengthen your heart and reduce clot risk before any emergency occurs. Most importantly, awareness is key. Many seniors continue to eat processed meats daily because they've always done so and because the consequences build slowly, without immediate symptoms. But once you understand how these foods interact with aging arteries, it becomes easier to make mindful changes. Your heart doesn't need dramatic interventions every day. It just needs consistent, small habits that support its health over the long term. By the end of this video, you'll have clear guidance on which foods to limit, what to include instead, and the lifestyle habits that significantly lower clot risk, all in ways that feel manageable and sustainable. Protecting your arteries now isn't about fear. It's about giving your heart the care it deserves for many more years of life. In the final part, we'll summarize the early warning signs, highlight the most effective heart protective foods for seniors, and give you a practical daily checklist recommended by cardiac experts to keep your blood flowing safely. Let's talk about the early warning signs of clot risk that seniors often overlook. These signs can be subtle, but recognizing them early could prevent a serious heart attack or stroke. Watch for unusual swelling in your legs or ankles, sudden numbness or tingling in your arms or legs, shortness of breath during normal activities, or even a persistent feeling of fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. While these symptoms don't always mean a clot is forming, they are your body's way of signaling that circulation may not be optimal. Paying attention to these small clues can save lives. Swap out processed meats for fresh protein sources like eggs, fish, poultry, beans, and lentils. Include plenty of vegetables, leafy greens, and berries, which help reduce inflammation and keep blood vessels flexible. Healthy fats from nuts, seeds, and olive oil support circulation and reduce platelet stickiness. Even small, consistent changes like having grilled chicken instead of a deli sandwich can make a measurable difference over time. In addition to diet, daily movement is critical. Gentle exercise like walking, stretching, or light resistance training improves circulation, strengthens the heart. Staying hydrated also plays an important role because thicker, dehydrated blood clots more easily. These daily habits work together, creating a protective shield for your heart and arteries without requiring drastic lifestyle changes. The key takeaway is simple: processed meats and similar foods may feel safe, convenient, and familiar, but they quietly increase clot risk, especially after 60. Awareness, small adjustments in diet, and daily habits like movement and hydration can dramatically reduce this risk. Protecting your heart isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. Your heart has carried you through decades of life, and with the right choices, it can continue to serve you well for many more. By being mindful of the foods you eat, recognizing early warning signs, and committing to manageable daily habits, you can actively protect your heart, maintain healthy circulation, and reduce the risk of dangerous clots. Every small step counts, and the changes you make today could keep your arteries strong for years to come. Your heart has been with you through every step, every memory, every challenge. It has carried you faithfully for decades, and now it's time to give it the care it deserves. The reality is clear. The foods we eat, especially processed meats, can quietly increase blood clot risk after 60, even when we feel perfectly fine. But the power to protect your heart is in your hands. By choosing fresh, whole proteins, colorful vegetables, healthy fats, and staying hydrated and active, you can strengthen your arteries, improve circulation, and reduce clot risk without sacrificing convenience or taste. Small, consistent changes every day add up to big long-term benefits. Protecting your heart isn't about fear. It's about taking smart, manageable steps to ensure it continues to serve you for many more years. Your heart has carried you this far. Give it the protection it needs so it can carry you even further.